What's good, Silver Squad? Welcome back to the Silver Site. My name is RJ,
I'm Jay.
I'm Gerald. G saw that.
and today we're about to be yapping about where's the banner, people. All right, cool. Well, yeah, about to be yapping about Fantastic Four: First Steps. We're Marvel fans here, we're movie fans here, so we're gonna kind of keep it like just kind of chill today. We're just gonna yap. That's what we do best. So, first of all, $80 for a popcorn bucket is ridiculous, but I'm gonna get it. I'm absolutely gonna get it. Yeah, thank you, Gerald, for that. Email.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm definitely about to hop on that. Yeah. What would y'all think of the movie?
Besides the popcorn bucket, I actually enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a really good movie.
yeah, I got Herbie, so I spent 70, uh, which it was a great spin. You got your free popcorn, candy, and drink. So I mean, honestly, you'd have spent that 25 or 26 just on that by itself. So split the difference. I only really spent $50 or 45.
Damn, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because you do get the candy and the popcorn with it. So yeah, so you really didn't spend the
The
$80.
Galactus said you only get popcorn. You don't get everything, which is weird. They would do it that way, but
Excuse me.
uh,
Yeah, that
yeah,
would be
so
weird.
that's
Yeah,
crazy. But I guess since it's only popcorn, with Herbie, you can actually put the candy, the popcorn, and the drink in.
I saw that the little compartment that opens
Yeah,
and you allow the candy
the
in there.
candy you can do in the front, popcorn you do in the back, and then the head is the drink.
Did y'all see
But
the TikToks or whatever, or the videos of people's Galactus bucket and Herbie buckets going off during the damn movie, and they were trying to figure out how to get it to shut up, and the lights
no,
nah,
were
I didn't see
flaring.
that.
Yeah,
That's
man,
hilarious.
yeah.
yeah. But for me, I did enjoy it. I was I was I think I was trying to talk myself into reasons not to care for it as much, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I did. I think that it's refreshing to have a Marvel standalone movie where you don't have to watch 4 hours of television or another movie in order to understand fully what's going on. I do kind
Yeah,
of miss that. Don't get me wrong, like I do enjoy lore and things connecting and things like that. But for me, this time around, it was just kind of refreshing just to watch a movie and enjoy what's in front of my face without having to think about references, callbacks, and Easter eggs. I don't mind call forwards and Easter eggs, but it's like,
right.
damn, at some point I just want to turn my brain off and watch a movie. So I enjoyed it.
I think that's a good point that you bring up though, because I think it's just a new time for Marvel, like experimenting, but also this, it felt like it was in another place in its own. That I feel like it was a fresh take on. It's kind of like watching Eternals over again in a different way because I feel like it was his own thing. They really connected too much, and I appreciate that because we got to spend more time with these characters in the story.
Plus, it gives people, it kind of gives people an opportunity not to nitpick as much because that's what I turned it off pretty quickly. Initially I did go in with no expectations, but I did find myself saying, okay, what is this going to remind me of, or what baggage are they going to bring into it? And it was refreshingly they didn't. They allowed them to be their own thing. They didn't have to make mention of a whole bunch of other people and other heroes and stuff like
Yeah,
that. They were the only hero in that on that earth.
yeah.
So as far as the way people saw them,
Damn, I
having
didn't
that
realize
celebrity
that.
status, so having that celebrity status, but they were the heroes. It
Yeah,
was like refreshing because you didn't have to say, well, what about this person or that person,
yeah.
or. So that was cool.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize that they were the only real heroes on that earth because I was wondering why they were like on their jock, like relax. Yeah, I've never seen a hero before. Like, it was kind of
Yeah,
annoying. It didn't dawn on me until you just said that. I'm like, they've
Yeah,
never seen heroes before.
yeah, because they're the protectors of that universe, the only protectors. What it seems like, So I really appreciate them just kind of focusing on them and nothing else, because it's such a broad universe, and I feel like they did really good with just capturing a new idea of these are the people that we have to rely on and trust. If anything happens, if stuff
but
goes down.
what was neat, what they did also was because obviously they were just great at what they did prior to their changes. So when they left being, forward thinking, having all these great scientific, advances and doing all these great pilot and great, they had all these things that they were doing. And then when they came back and they were changed, they were able to still not only do those things, but then also add the hero component to it. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of made it, it kind of made it go tenfold. Now, of course, I think Reed had to figure out a way to harness that a certain way so that they could still make them seem fairly normal, because it wasn't, no pun intended, there was no thing to see the thing in its form once he was in that form. He wasn't a monster to them, so I thought that was a neat way to do it.
I feel like too, what I really loved is the fast forward of exposition that we got.
Yes.
At this point, we know like how they came to be.
Y'all
It's
know
like
my gripes.
exactly. Like I feel like even with, let's like with Ninja Turtles, we can stop with the origin story. We know what happened. Like it's okay to fast forward to a point where they're already active heroes and they're already a team. And I think for me, I appreciated we got that quick exposition of how they came to be, and we just kind of jumped into them, and I guess for lack of a better term, present time. Which I know we just mentioned it a little bit. I really enjoy the kind of like futuristic, yet not futuristic way the world looked like, even with their technology, even the roundness of like the knobs sometimes, or the squareness of like the countertops. I don't know. I love the vibe that they gave.
It was that Jetsons feel. It was like what do
Yes,
you call it?
yes,
Retro futuristic,
Yeah.
or
that's it.
futuristic
That's it.
retro. That's what it was. And because if I don't know if y'all peeped it when the car first took off, there was like a floating robot underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, I get what they're doing, because initially, I think they were in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about the 60s, the way we think about the 60s, obviously the 60s was not, they didn't have that type of technology was not. We would, as far as the 60s go, they were just talking about what's going to happen in the year 2000, and stuff like that. So the cars are going to be floating and things like, so I think I was really good at being propelled into that world that they were building for us, and it's still like to see it and know that the beehives and the different hairstyles and the different clothes didn't just say this movie's supposed to feel slower than it is, and it wasn't. The pacing was still, and it still had the same feel of a futuristic hero movie.
Yeah, and I feel like they did a great job of, covering up the 1960s frame with, like, as far as the infrastructure of how a 1960 place is supposed to look.
Yeah.
Because, that's that modern technology they use for them is what they kind of like showed us. And I really liked how they just interacted with certain things, but still felt like RJ mentioned, like you're in the 1960s.
I think it's important. I love what you said about how they did a good job of covering it up, because I felt like they had internet, but I also felt like they still read the newspaper. If that makes, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a good blend.
That's a good way to put it, because if you think about it, there was at no point that I asked myself this. Now I don't know if you guys thought about it this way, because I know Jay being the comic guy, you may see it differently because you absorb the information from every angle. For me, I was just kind of like, man, I hope I don't get bored thinking this is gonna be unrealistic. Because I know it's the 60s, but I also know that they were, fashion forward, if you will, with the style. But they also were able to keep the comic book lore kind of in there and everything. So I was intrigued. Like I was finding myself like, man, I'm actually kind of locked in.
So, I love that too, especially like all the like villain references from like the early classic Fantastic Four characters, and their that time that they came out of was just really cool. Just seeing them kind of like, like RJ mentioned too, how they're kind of already established. They've been established for like, years or whatever, or just for however long, because it kind of like, gives them the one up, like, hey, we got this. We're the Fantastic Four until they meet Galactus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Another thing I enjoyed about this movie was and I I wasn't poor this week, so I got to see it in IMAX. Um, I enjoyed my IMAX experience, and I'm not gonna lie, low key, it's kind of like having a fast pass at Disney. I feel like I may just have to sacrifice and just get IMAX everything now because like that to me was like an experience seeing the CGI on that big screen and the
Yeah.
sound.
Hey, bro,
Love
it can't be. If
it.
if I'll be honest, I rarely pass up. It has to be just the timing just won't work.
Yeah,
Like if I in my schedule, but I'm never passing up IMAX as an
mm,
opportunity. Like I'll skip Dolby in a heartbeat because
yeah,
Dolby, you
yeah,
know
Yeah,
what?
Dolby's. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a fake IMAX. They try to be
yeah,
Well,
IMAX in some ways, but
the
they're still.
Dolby is more the sound more than
yeah,
it is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sound and the feel. But the IMAX itself, it you just can't replicate that because
you
the
can.
aspect ratio in itself is where people don't understand the difference in what they thought they saw versus what they're seeing. And if
yeah.
you're sitting there watching it and you like prime example, let's be realistic. I just sent you that clip on our group text.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot understand the scale of what Galactus looks like on just
On a smaller,
on the
yeah,
smaller screen. You
yeah.
cannot. IMAX is going to give you a totally different perspective.
It's a
Like
9-day difference.
Yeah.
it's wild because like when I remember when I first saw Galactus on the screen, I said I understand it now. I am
Mhm.
terrified for these people. Like
Correct.
in any other time, like oh they got it, I figure like when I saw him on the screen, I said oh I
Yeah.
don't think I would want to deal with any of this. Give him the baby, and let's just move on. Like it's at that point,
Like y'all
no,
aren't leaving.
I
Y'all
do
aren't
feel like
leaving.
I wouldn't have given that baby though. I do feel like that. I understand. I did feel like the people were a little selfish. Like y'all were just like cheering for my baby, and now y'all want me to give my baby up.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, come on, y'all, make your mind up.
No, I respect that because I feel like in that situation, there's a lot of stake in this movie. That's why I like too, because Sue's pregnant, and the world's about to end, or at least their world, and I really like how like the interaction with the people, they trust them so much, but it's like they also will turn on you at any
In
minute
a
because
heartbeat.
like especially if they want to, because they want to survive too. It's the
Yeah.
natural way of thinking.
But what too, what made this movie really good fun for me. I don't say fun. What enjoyable for me is it went from there's a duality of like world-ending danger and personal stakes here. I think
Mhm.
that is what for me made it a little bit more intense because yeah, how many how many save the world movies have we seen in the past like 10, 15 years? A lot. To me,
That's
I
21
feel like
Savage
it's
said. A lot.
yeah, I feel like it's super refreshing, like to
Right.
have like just something personal, to fight for a reason to fight. I think that's what made it fun.
And I've heard you say, because you're kind of like me, RJ. We talked about this so many times before, like how it's the story that comes with it, but also if you want to tell a story that is rooted in chaos, it's got to be organized. And I feel like this movie was really had a good structure as far as the story and how like there were different angles, but it wasn't like crazy chaos. It was chaos that was organized within the story, and I like that we got to focus on certain things at different times. Like if like one plan didn't work, then okay, we can try something else. But it just kept going and going. This plan C and D and E after that, but there was a point where
I
they
gave up. I
came
ain't
out.
gonna lie. Like I would have gave up. That's why I'm not cut out to be a hero because I'm not about to do all that. I'm not about to do all that thinking.
But their whole existence is figuring out something. They literally go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then they're circling back to see what didn't work there. Because that was kind of how that thing kind of came full circle with Grimm. How you know I feel like Reed, like how he threw himself under the bus on the idea of why everything got messed up. He's like, my calculations is what
Yeah,
caused this. And so Sue kind of tried to hey, like, come on now. Like Grim had already come to grips with it. So it's not as if it was going to soothe him or change anything. But he's like, no, I'm going to be the person who fell on the sword for that. So with that happening, that allows for you to again have that more human element to it that puts us back into they're still regular people. Yes, they're enhanced. They have these powers, but they're still regular people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message behind it too, because this movie's not your like Daredevil type. It's not your your Batman type. You're not going to see a lot of fists and kicks flying. It's mainly about the process of how you utilize your technology and make sure that you're doing it in the right way. Because one miscalculation and the world could be a stake or something. So I really like that how it gave it that edge to to the story, because it really showed that hey, yeah, they're the protectors of the universe, but can this one challenge change everyone's perspective and the world itself on them? So,
I'll say that as my one critique of the movie, though. I I think because I hear Marvel, and I think I was expecting a little more action as opposed to more story and world building. So for me, I feel like if there's one thing that I feel like I really would have enjoyed a little bit more is a little bit more fighting and action, because I really feel like stuff didn't really pop off and people didn't start really showing the extent of their power until the very last scene. I feel like
yeah,
we did get a little back and forth with Silver Surfer, but I feel like I really would have like I if I didn't know what Fantastic Four was, I wouldn't have known Reed Richards' powers until the end, because I felt like he didn't really use them until the final scene.
that is one complaint though I do have a little bit, because they still like are creative with their powers. So I do kind of agree with you, RJ, on that, because I feel like even though it's like I said, it's still not that type of movie. There's still things I've seen them do, even in the pages that where they can make it feel like it's a part of the action, and they can use their fist and punches once in a while, which they do. But yeah, I see what you mean as far as like towards the end how they kind of like they show some parts, but it wasn't like they didn't go all the way there with that
Yeah.
their skills.
So a quick, I guess I'd have a question for that then. Will we have not sacrificed, because I'm saying going to be asking the opposite. So should the movie have been longer to allow for more of those things to happen, or should they have done it? Like how could they have done it? Because I think they used the abbreviated way, like they did, like they literally listed all those villains. They kind of used an abbreviated way to show their skill
Yeah.
sets in those little mini montages in order to say they're capable of this, and this, but not having to keep showing you and showing you and showing you over and over. Because by the end of the movie, are you going to assume it's going to be easier for them to overcome it? Because that's kind of where I was like okay, because was it more about us really getting that story, or was it supposed, or were they supposed to be trying to showcase those skills?
Well, I
So
still think it's valid,
yeah,
because I as far as what I've seen, is I think that what they could have done, Gerald, I think they could have maybe just done like not like a flashback, but when they were talking about those villains, they could have shown like them like working together as a team real quick, and then like
or more
doing
of
those
that.
moves. Yeah. Which they kind of did, but like in the beginning, but it wasn't like too many of them. Like as they were naming them, they could have been like, as they were showing the Mole Man or whoever,
Mhm.
they could have been doing something.
I think too. I feel like also I'm used to like early 2000s movies to where like Reed is standing there and he wants a cookie and he stretches his arm across the
Yeah.
room to get a
Yeah,
cookie just to show us what he can do. Or Sue Storm accidentally has her blinds open and she goes invisible to like I think I'm just so used to like seeing characters use their powers on a day-to-day basis, and we really didn't get that when they were home. They were themselves. They weren't heroes in their home, and I think we've seen a lot of them. A lot of times we've seen these characters in their home, and they're kind of like away from everybody. So I feel like that's kind of why I feel like I wanted a little bit more power use as opposed to story.
Yeah, they only gave you that once with Reed. I think when he stretched his arm when he's writing on the board,
and that was it.
and
Yeah,
that was
that
about
was
it.
it.
Yeah,
No,
outside of the suit.
I definitely agree, because I think that's a really good point, because
Okay.
especially if you have powers like that, you can find ways to be creative in and your storytelling with the development and showing power, like how the powers work a little bit more, because that's like RJ said, they do that a lot, like all the time. And in this, they was kind of like a normal thing, which it depends on the story, but I still feel like they could have added that little flavor in.
Okay.
For those scenes.
Yeah.
If I got to sneeze, sorry.
Would
But
it?
yeah.
Would if so? Let's say they made the movie longer. Do you think that would have taken away from any of the punch that the movie had itself?
I don't believe so. I
wouldn't
feel
think
like there
so.
should have been three. I guess I consider the first. I don't consider the first interaction a battle with the Silver Surfer. I feel like there should have been at least three fights.
Okay.
And so yeah, I feel like it should have been like three big fights. I feel like there should have been one to test,
Yeah.
how powerful Silver Surfer was. Second one could have been, oh shit, we almost, won or whatever, but we lost, and let's figure out how to do it. And third fight could have been, or four rather than, because I guess they did have three, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to see a little bit more action. Maybe there should have been four interactions with them. Not to say that the sense of danger was not there, because when they were in space and the Silver Surfer almost pulled the baby out of Sue Storm, that to
Correct.
me was like a clear and present, like, oh shit, we're in danger. This isn't a normal. This isn't the mole, So I do think I did enjoy the parts that we did get, but I think if we would have had like maybe one more battle, one more fight with like Silver Surfer, I think I wouldn't have felt so like shortchanged on action.
I think that's still a good point though, because I think that still when you're doing these Marvel movies, regardless, you do have to have action in them. You don't have to have like every single scene doesn't have to be like that. But like RJ said, it's just there could have been like a small gap in the movie where they could have just put something in, like like it's like a missing block or like a missing piece to the puzzle or something. They could have just put it on and just been like, that would have been the last part that we could have added in to showcase their skills and abilities. But,
so how do you think? Let's talk about everybody's individual like plots. I feel like, let's talk about the casting. I definitely enjoyed the casting of this movie. The only person I feel like I feel he did a good job, but the only person I probably felt was a little miscast was Johnny Storm. That to me, he wasn't given torch. I don't know. I feel like he should be like a smooth talking like ladies man. I just wasn't getting that vibe from him.
I think they leaned into the comedic piece a little bit more for him, just because I could be wrong, but I think going forward, it would kind of make more sense to go ahead and say, well, if we lean into the comedic piece, if we do offer a love interest down the road, it can grow organically as opposed to us just like forcing everybody's story arcs to be in the first film.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I see it, because that's an element, especially being that they were in the 60s. Like, remember when the original movies came out, it was kind of more modern. So everything's a little bit more forward, thinking when it comes to, well, I'm a celebrity type. I'm gonna use that to my advantage. I'm gonna be a ladies man. I'm gonna use that to, even though they had him, jocking Silver Surfer. So, he was definitely running towards the idea.
I feel like, what the hell is his name? I feel like Chris Evans could have pulled that Silver Surfer. I don't think he could have pulled that Silver Surfer. That's what I'm saying. It just I didn't believe it. I don't believe it. Like Chris Evans, Johnny Storm would have definitely like smashed, but that Silver Surfer wouldn't have went through with it.
But I still see what you mean though, because like as far as the character development, how like there is a difference between those two. But however, the one that we saw early, I mean, I think it might be me too, RJ. I might just be used to early 2000s movies or something. But I do feel like that they did a better job of like showing more of like the cocky side and more of him being like arrogant in the older movies than this one. He's a little too not like nice, but he's just a little
childish. He's childish.
Yeah, he's just mainly like childish and jokey. He wasn't really like cocky. He was just kind of like,
well, even Michael B. Jordan's version had a little cockiness to him,
Yeah.
So but I don't necessarily I don't agree or disagree. I don't know. I didn't have a huge problem with it because I felt like just the whole family dynamic of it. Just I don't know if that tone would have fit with him because he would have
And
had to
that's
do
my
both.
thing.
He would have
Yeah.
to balance both. He would
Yeah.
have to balance both because he was ribbing with with Grimm and ribbing with everybody. Really, he was giving
Everybody,
everybody. And so I would have felt like that would have just been a stretch to keep trying to do. Well, I'm gonna do this whole comedic bit, with them, and keep ribbing with them, and then I see a love interest or I see a woman. Every time I see him, I'm catching eyes and I'm trying to talk her down. And then
yeah.
I just think that would have been a little much because they didn't. I mean, let's be realistic. They didn't really give Grimm a whole lot to do in the film.
That's true too. Yeah, I'm
They
glad you
really-
brought that up because I feel like he could have had way more scenes. I only feel like he had like maybe 2 scenes when he's like carrying the boat, and then like when he smashed like the pillars underneath the bridge or the building.
Yeah.
And I feel like that
was
was
trying to talk to that teacher.
Yeah, he picked up the car and he, told her.
yeah. And yeah,
They could
Rachel.
have fast-forwarded that. They could have sped that relationship up a little bit, gave him something.
Well, it's not even his. That's not his same love interest. That's in the comics, though.
Exactly, and that's where I kind of had a problem, but not too much of it because I get it. This is Earth 828. They're going to 616. Maybe Alicia Masters may show up in 616, but I still feel like that was kind of like maybe she could have ended up on that Earth and they could have taken her with or something like that because she's a very important character.
Because as of Thunderbolts, aren't they in 616 or is it not confirmed that was that team?
I
don't think it's confirmed.
I'm
gonna
confused.
wait before I get there. I'm not gonna say nothing yet.
So I'm not bugging. Like, am I? Because I thought, if I remember correctly, in 626 and WandaVision, Monica Rambeau mentions. Does she not mention Reed Richards? But I don't think she mentions him by. She does. She mentions him, right? So he's already in that universe. So I'm so confused.
Okay, let's stick with multiverse theory here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and say what I think. Well, even if it doesn't make sense, but this is what I'm going to say. I feel like Marvel fumbled a little bit throwing that post-credit scene in Captain America because you're going to have to circle back around and try to re-explain why you saw that ship in the 616, and then you still have the, I guess, what are they, 818, 828, whatever they are. So they're going to still have to come back and try to explain it. They're going to have to try to explain their way out of it. And that's one reason why I felt the way I felt about them showing that ship, because it made it seem like they were leaving their universe or Earth that got destroyed.
Yeah.
And we
honestly,
clearly know it doesn't get destroyed.
That's how I thought the movie was going to end. I thought it was going to end with them losing. I thought they were going to lose and flee to 6 whatever. That's what I thought. I thought that was going to leave and do that.
That's how I thought it was too. I thought, Galactus somehow would have managed and everyone on that Earth would have been destroyed and they would have headed to 616. But I guess not. I mean, I don't know. I feel like also with the cast, RJ, as far as you mentioned, I like Joseph Quinn. I think he's a good actor, but I just don't. I liked him as Johnny Storm, but I still agree with you though. I just didn't feel like it's not his performance at all. It's just that when you're looking at a character, it's kind of hard to look away from that other side and then focus on this one because there's so many elements I feel like we're missing from his character that we've already seen in the older films, as we were talking about, and. Pedro Pascal, he grew on me over the time the more I heard him talk, but I just feel like he's in everything though now. And that's not a bad thing, but I feel like he's just in a lot of stuff now where it's kind of like it's not annoying, but it just takes away from other people. Yeah.
It's overexposure. And I hope he doesn't. I hope we don't start to get overexposed to him because I do enjoy his work. It's just that like every time I see him in something now, I'm like, all right, like I know it's gonna be good, but also it's Pedro Pascal. He's in everything. It's like Zendaya, like just stop for a minute, please.
So that dude's gonna be trending for the next 2 years.
Yeah, we'll be all right though. He's good. He's a good actor. We'll be okay. It's just all right. You know what I'm scared to happen is I'm gonna start seeing Pedro Pascal instead of the character. That's how I got with Ryan Reynolds. I don't care what the
Yeah,
movie is. I'll always just see Ryan Reynolds now.
that's what I'm afraid of too, because I feel like that's the, and especially you're casting them in these like these big roles. You know, like you're playing Maxwell Lord and Wonder Woman. You're playing uh Joel and The Last of Us. You're playing, Reed Richards. You're playing all these iconic characters. That's not the problem though. It's just that, like you said, RJ, I think it's going to get washed in too much into this place where it's just going to be kind of like, all right, you can just dump the water out now. Like,
Yep.
you don't got to keep filling it up to the top. But all right.
So, what did y'all think of Sue Storm? This iteration of Sue Storm. How did y'all enjoy? I think that this is probably my favorite Sue Storm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. I love the end scene.
And
I
she's
was
super emotionally intelligent. And that's what I enjoy about her.
her
Yeah.
her her gaze freaking freaks me out. I ain't gonna lie though. She has a way. I don't know. She look like she can look into your soul. I thought about that even when she was in what was that one? Not the last one, but the one before the Mission Impossible.
Oh,
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
her the look she has in her eyes. She has crazy eyes. It's weird. Uh, but I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed her performance as a whole. I thought she did a good job of you know not only portraying a soon to be mom, a mom, but really as a companion. She did a
Yeah.
really good job. So I was definitely impressed with what she did.
I thought she did a really good job just being, she felt like the Sue Storm. She acted like, just like you said, Gerald, a mother who's in distress, but not just like in a way to where she needs to be saved, just that she's worried about the stakes of the world. And RJ, you mentioned too that, this is a mother who's been through a lot, and she knows that the stakes are high, but she's emotionally intelligent. And I really appreciate them showing how, like, she didn't dwell her mind into darkness. She just really found a way to overcome things no matter what. And they listened to her. That's why I appreciate, because
Yeah.
even when she was like, "Hey, like Johnny, you gotta like kill her, and he's like, "All right." He just flew off and said, I thought that was really just like the connection with the family. I just was like, they're like, "All right, no hesitation. We respect
I,
her."
I think
So
that's when I sat up when she said, kill her. Like,
Right.
I love stuff like that because I get so tired of the goody two. She's like, no, we got to find a way to stop it without her. Kill her. Kill her. I loved it. I sat up. That woke me up.
I like scenes like that too, because it made it edgy. That's why I do like about this movie. There were some parts that were very edgy, and other parts were, just how it was supposed to be, in my opinion. But I really liked how they kind of just tested the waters a little bit with that.
Yeah.
What do you
So,
think about the chase scene, RJ?
I was just about to bring it up. I said, what did you guys think of the Silver Surfer and the chase scene and all of that stuff? I I get so sad sometimes because, as you guys know, like whenever Galactus and the Silver Surfer storyline is introduced in anything, it ends up canceled. Like it in a television show or something like that ends up canceled, especially animated.
Yeah,
So I'm glad we got to see like the Silver Surfer actually do something now.
yeah, because I'm glad we finally saw, like, I think she's a great portrayal, Jennifer Gardner as Silver Surfer. And I think that she was menacing, but she was also like captivating as well, because because of her backstory.
Yeah. I thought it was neat that she like even though she presented them with this very uh, crazy information, but was able to give it in a way where she didn't sound like she was play acting, trying to tell them
Yeah,
how severe things were about to be for them. And I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you the part that freaked me out was when they were on the planet and they found out she was the one who chooses the planets.
Oh,
yeah,
Like,
yes,
yo,
yep,
because
yes,
yeah, that part was crazy because I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna use a country reference, but you could have heard a mouse piss on cotton. It was so quiet in that theater. Like everybody was like locked into the screen, like, what is happening right now? Like, it was so quiet and so tense. I felt myself kind of leaning forward, like, okay,
Yeah.
what is gonna happen now? Because you're literally presented with no options.
Yeah.
Like, he was
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
basically, yeah. So she came and she was like, hey, get y'all stuff in order. Hug your people. It's up. It's up. The
Yeah.
next time you see me, y'all gone.
I love
Straight
that.
up.
I loved it. It was such an eeriness, man.
Yeah.
It was so like, I'm like, damn, am I going to die too? It's the
Hey,
way like she delivered that. It was like, I herald you, I herald Galactus. Hey, if you have somebody you love, hug
hug them.
them. Say what you got to say. Get everything off your chest. Reveal your secrets because
Yeah.
you're all gonna die, and there's just no way around it. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time.
And then she
Basically.
left.
Like,
And they kept it simple with the lines. They didn't do anything extra, too.
yeah.
So I think that the way she delivered her line for that, she
Yes.
came in, she said what she had to say, she left. It wasn't no sorry. It was just
It was simple. It was simple, like y'all gonna die. Could you imagine though, like a being coming down, a chrome being descending from the sky, telling you like your planet will be devoured. And could you imagine spilling all your business, giving all your secrets, and then you don't die? I know somebody got divorced. I know somebody got divorced. I
Right.
know some secrets
Yeah.
came out.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I like this movie, as you mentioned earlier too, RJ, especially with the stakes being really high. Because this movie did really the anticipation was it was crazy. I think a lot of scenes did that, like Gerald mentioned too. Because that's how it is in the comics as well. Silver Surfer is the herald who goes to different planets, and it's like, all right, well, hey, Galactus, I guess you can try to eat this planet. I mean, there's a population on it. He's like, yeah, I don't care, get out the way. And then same thing over and over. It's a cycle because even though Galactus, I mean, he's not a villain. He was sort of the villain in this movie because it was their first time meeting him.
I low-key felt bad for Silver Surfer though. Like she was doing it with remorse. She was only doing it to save her people, and we know that's the backstory of Silver Surfer, regardless. But like something about this Silver Surfer made me really sad when they revealed it, even though I already knew. It just seemed like really like, damn, like she's not a bad person. She just put her people first.
Yeah.
Like I really don't blame her. I probably would have done the same thing.
And see, that's what I like with how this movie it didn't say like, necessarily this is the bad guy, but there's different kinds of views. And when it comes to how people need to survive within this world.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Gerald.
No, I was just thinking about the sequence that led up to them talking to Galactus for the first time had me shook.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
First off, you get tractor beamed, pulled to the ship, which was news to me that there was a ship involved. I was like, okay, my mind is blown. How does this work? And then they literally show you how the ship goes and basically destroys the planet from the inside, basically pulverizes the planet, turns it into lava, and then injects itself into Galactus' body through through intravenous tubes.
He could
I
have
was
played
like,
an IV.
man, I was
Genius.
like, you have got to be kidding me. Man, hey, my mind was blown. I was like, it reminded me of golly. When they were forging what you call it on Infinity War, when they were forging Stormbreaker.
Oh yeah.
On
Multiple High.
Yeah. And so I was like, so think about how powerful his ship has to be in order to do what it's doing, where it's basically he's attached to his ship. Like I mean, obviously, that goes to show how large he really is. If he's
Yeah.
attached to the ship,
Yeah.
you know, like because in my brain, bro was just like planet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
don't
read the
fathom
comics, so
him.
I didn't know any different. You know, but also reminded me of that one scene when what you call it, the Watcher was fighting uh when he decided to fight back, and he ended up the when he was fighting the version of Vision, and he
Okay.
ended up
Oh,
biting. He ended up
Yeah.
biting through one of the realms or whatever, and it
yeah.
caused this big explosion. That's in my brain. That's how it all works. Since I didn't read the comics, so I didn't know. But I was like, man, that sequence in itself was crazy. And then for Reed to have the wherewithal to say, "Hey, kill the engines. Like we can't do nothing. We can't fight this.
Yeah.
Just kill
Yeah.
them. Kill the engines. Save whatever
You're
power we got."
smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and those were like specific way. Like you could tell even when he did it, there was shot specifically so it could basically show you he's always thinking. Even
Yeah.
under
Yes.
pressure, he's always thinking. He was like, "Kill him. Just let's chill. We got to figure now. We just got to figure out what we're up against for real."
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. If you notice about Reed, he doesn't really panic that much.
Yeah.
He really just like keeps his cool because geniuses like that, they don't panic in situations like that because they know there's different outcomes.
Mhm.
And Reed knows that like, yeah, we may not like if you want to die. I mean, yeah, that's fine. But I'm not going to do that. So
Yeah.
just cut the engines, let it happen, and we can figure out another type of outcome. And Gerald, the thing I really liked about Galactus, because it kind of like paid homage to the comics, but also I think it's his own thing as well. Was
Yeah.
the eye switch? Like
Yeah,
how
I noticed that.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
cool. That was so cool. That was my favorite part.
See, what I like about this movie too is it's a movie you have to genuinely watch. Like I love what you said earlier about like you how Reed is always thinking. And I really like how they make that his personality. And that he doesn't panic easily. So when he does have a look of worry on his face, that's when you know like, oh shit, things about to pop off. If Reed is worried, we should absolutely be worried.
100%.
Even when they got back to Earth and they was trying to figure out how to like get Galactus out of here and stuff like that. And she was like, "You've already thought about using the baby. Like I already know. Like there's no other way." It's like even the things that he doesn't want to think about in order to kind of get the job done. It's like he'll think of every single way, even if it's like terrible. I love it. I
Yes.
love that about him.
And another part to add on top of that I really liked, and Gerald, I kind of want to ask you this because you may have noticed like you're a movie person, so you can kind of like understand where I'm coming from with this. Do
Okay.
you feel as though the scene when they got back, when he stood on the podium and was going to tell the people like, hey, what's going on and all that, do you feel like would have been more interesting instead of telling them the truth, he should have probably lied? Or do you think it was fine the way it was?
Oh man.
Because
That's a tough one.
because I'm saying that because Reed sometimes does some dirty things like that. Like he'll lie and then like he'll try to like because he knows the outcome like RJ was talking about. So he'll be like he'll try
I
to
would have
twist it,
lied.
and then later on it'll seem like everything's okay because like I told you the truth, but I really lied and covered stuff up.
I was a little irritated in the theater when that happened. I feel like what was the point of they didn't need to know any of that. You could have, instead of worrying to everybody else, you could have said, yeah, we'll figure out a way. We just want to do some recon, da da da. But like you tell them like, yeah, they wanted our baby. Why
Well,
are you open your mouth and say that?
so
Like
so
shut up.
so here two trains of thought, but I'll go with my main thing was we know we're watching a film. How do they create more drama
Drama, yeah.
right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they lie, where's the drama? Other than we just got to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
But you got to create a reason for it to get leaked out, or a reason for it to even be a thing. So I don't know. I think we should probably. I think he was trying to be direct with him and being real with him.
But for his character, I guess it makes sense, and you have to think he was also really terrified at the fact that they probably at that moment were like, "Oh, we're gonna lose, and we're all gonna die." And so, as a result of that, I lost my train of thought. As a result of that, I feel like it was more like a panic response. It was more like a catatonic shutdown, like, yeah, they want the baby kind of thing. So I get where you're coming from, but I feel like I still would have lied in that scenario. As a person, I get what you're saying about the movie wise having to move the plot forward, but I would have lied my ass off, man.
In real life, probably, but
Yeah,
plot wise, the movie has to keep going. Now you got to figure out a way for people to have outrage and be like, so we just gonna steal. So basically, y'all come back, y'all didn't do anything, and we all still get to be scared.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah, and that's why I asked too, because I feel like, I mean, I like the way they still did it, but I feel like, if you wanted to give a little bit more of like a edge to it, you could have made him lie. But again, like you said, you would have to find a way to surround that chaos and to make it fit with the story. So
well, you go from being scared to being mad, as opposed to being scared to now you being more scared because now even they can't help you because you knew they had the answer, and now we get to fight about, hey, why don't you just give them the dang baby?
Somebody yelled that. Somebody said, "Give him the baby."
Oh yeah.
Like, what? Then even the dude said, "What do you mean you couldn't just give him the baby?" Like,
yeah, he did say that.
Like,
yeah,
what?
The dude in the, I think that tan suit or whatever that's in the front.
Yeah.
Like, you just give him the baby? Like, dude, like, no.
I was like, bro, what? Relax. Like, y'all were just cheering that she had this damn baby.
Right. They'd be like, hey, listen, we smart enough to probably get out of this. We'll leave all y'all hanging still. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? There'll be none of y'all.
We'll get in the ship and leave our asses to die.
Right.
But Archie, I think you're right though. It was a
Yeah.
panic moment because I think that, just in real life maybe it'd be different, but in that situation, I think he was just kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. We tried our best, but we failed.
Yeah.
I think, like Joe said,
too, like they're the only heroes in that universe, so they're not, and they're used to their heroes always winning, and so I feel like they thought they were going to come back off that ship with a solution. Like, oh, don't worry, he just wanted a 2012, he just wanted a 1995, Buick, and we're good. He just wanted a car. We traded that. He's going to eat the car. He's going to move on. So I feel like they thought they were going to solve it. And so when they got off that ship, looking fucking terrified. And I think that's when they were like, well, just give him the damn baby, So it's yeah.
But think about it from the standpoint of this, though. Even still, they had a solution, but of course, the solution wasn't working for them. They were like, yeah, we got a solution, but we got to figure out another workaround. Like, y'all need us. Y'all want us to just be on y'all at y'all deck and call? No, we're gonna figure something out, but it won't be this. We won't be this. Y'all went from clapping and cheering, like you said earlier. You went from clapping and cheering to what? You couldn't just give the baby up.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
way I would have lied, and I would have said he wants all of your. He actually wants all of your firstborn children. He wants them all now. Like now, do you want to sacrifice? Right. Since y'all so willing to give up the babies, give me your baby then.
Right.
Yeah, real talk.
And I thought it was crazy though. Even that conversation, I'm going back to see it tonight. Because there was a point where I was like, okay, I get, him explaining this whole thing about like saying, no, he has the hunger. He has the hunger. I want him to replace me, basically. Like, I'm good. I'm ready to move on to other things, which that's an interesting thing. I really want to find out more about, that hunger that he has. Like, is it a
minutes? Like,
right? Is it a
like?
Is it a
not eat?
Is it a curse? Is it a like what exactly is it? Because again, you see where I was with the chomping and all that, so I have no real understanding of it, and I'm not gonna read the comics. So Jay, don't even waste your time. I'm not gonna read it. But I am interested I'm interested in that because I do want to know like what is. Because he wasn't like I need to conquer y'all's earth. He's like, no, I'm just going to give me sustenance for a little bit, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Because how they figured it out was genius. Like him figuring out that she was at every location. before.
That was smart.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, man, that was clear. But then and also the recording, she
Yeah.
kept saying that phrase.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
About
exactly.
the
Yeah.
surfer, the surf in the black hole, bro. Get out of here, man.
Hey, now you do know that was I think that was a plot point that is probably more genius than way more than the average movie, but definitely
Yeah.
slicker than any other issue or concern that people have with trying to like hurt a villain or hurt an adversary. When Johnny was trying to shoot the beam and it kept bending, and he
Yeah.
kept saying,
Oh,
"Dude,
hard.
the freaking thing is taking it's messing up my aim. It keeps
Yeah.
warping it." And I was like, "That is a genius, like freaking like that
All of it.
freaking
Yeah.
piece was like." I was
The
like,
writing,
"Man, that's
yeah.
genius right there." Yeah,
Because
because
it
they're
makes
in
so
a
much
black
sense.
hole. Yeah, they're going in the black hole, so it's warping and it's changing it. And I was just like, "Bro,
Yeah, because like my
really?"
thing is you can't slow down time. You can't manipulate it unless like you're some cosmic god or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, Gerald, like I'm not gonna explain the whole thing. I wasn't gonna explain it to you anyway with Galactus and the whole planet devour eating thing. Just it's a cosmic curse. That's all.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, that's really what it is. And
Okay.
so like my thing is like you know, I really appreciate scenes like that because it shows kind of like the something like that. Yeah, it would be real, a little bit more realistic. Because you know, in most movies, we just see them like, you know, if they're warping or going like light speed, you know, everything is just like a perfect shot or something.
Right.
People can
Yeah.
like hit even in Star Wars, but I mean, Star Wars may be a little bit more acceptable in some instances, only in some instances. Anyway, I do like that they show the creativity with how like, you know, they had to figure it out because this is something that this is an encounter that they have never encountered before.
Right.
And I really like how they try to like figure out ways because you know they weren't gonna outrun her.
Yeah, they weren't.
Well, she's proven
They weren't getting away.
Right. She's. I do love how Johnny said, "Oh, she's not attached to the board."
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You're like, so was that
Yeah.
a board attachment to yourself or
Right.
Questions that need answers.
yeah.
So, what did y'all think of the solution? I love the whole like the meme about like let's take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else, like Patrick Star. I love that in like comparison because that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I'm just a little confused that I thought that they had to have a station set up to teleport something from one end to the other, but then someone was like, "No, that's just like a mark, but a mark for
a marker." Yeah, a marker.
Yeah, but then what's the marker for this?
He picked this place in space far or in another universe far enough away where it would take him on his own forever or for, however many.
But that's still a good point. But like, so how that would work for? Because like, there's a part in comics that like it kind of is similar to that. I'm not gonna explain that part, but Reed had the calculations already installed because he found like before he like you know I guess was gonna push the button to you know transfer them. He already had the calculations of where he wanted to end up.
Right.
So it's like the calculations were already in his system. So if he pressed the button, it's like 5 seconds before that, he already had the calculations in there, so he could press the button, and then it would doop, right to the next destination. So
I still get it. It makes no sense to me.
Well, because like with the egg,
had they not had those two towers in the beginning, I wouldn't be questioning it. With the egg, I feel like had they just had one tower and transport the egg from one place to another, I'd be fine. But being that they said you have to have two towers, how would they plan on doing that?
I don't know that but see, here's the thing. You got to think about it again. Now, of course, this is my speculation, but I'll piece it together with what I said when it comes to them always thinking. If he's already saying, I got the solution to moving from point A to point B, now I don't have to have that mechanism for point B because now I know if I point it to where I need it to go, it's going to go there. Because where that egg was landing, it was still landing in the same place where he was. Mm-hmm. So he had to have a starting point and an ending point in his eye line so that he know it's gonna go from here to here. Once he perfected that piece, because now no more blackouts when they do it. So now he's perfected that piece. He can say, I'm gonna pick another point that I know exists, but I don't have to physically see it now because I know it works.
Yeah.
Because even when they think about it, when she started destroying all those points, all they were really going to do was basically get the heck out of Dodge. They were just going to get everybody out of there.
That was hard though. I love that when she came and destroyed everything. I still probably teleported myself somewhere else. Yeah, couldn't be no hero. I'd be like, well, she knocked y'all towers out. I don't know what y'all about to do.
Good luck, folks. Click. I'm out.
But I still think
what you said. Saw RJ was.
Peace.
But no, RJ, I think that's valid though, still, because they didn't really they didn't explain that. You know,
I think I think that's me piecing it together in my own way because they did it a couple times.
Yeah.
Then when they did it the other time, the lights didn't go out, so that lets you know he had figured it out.
They improved on their technology and just that wasn't in the montage.
Yeah.
Because that's only what I'm assuming is because he had the calculations.
Because he had told Herbie, he told Herbie to do something. Again, I'm gonna watch.
That's right.
Yeah. So he had told Herbie to do something.
That's right.
And Herbie was running some calculations or doing something in the interim. Remember when they left the baby?
I think he said something about the signal or something like that. Like find a
Yeah. So there's when I see it, I'll try to remind you what I saw, unless you get to go back and see it or whatever. But that's what I remember about it, kind of being like he didn't have to see that point anymore for it to be.
Because didn't he say like find an area with space?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like it was like I mean not like not space, but like where the space where we can live with, So it's just something like that.
Yeah.
But
because initially, so think about it. Initially, they were going to try. They tried that the Silver Surfer when they pushed her into the black hole, and she got back pretty quick. I don't know how. But she got back pretty quick.
Silver Surfer can just do that.
Right.
Silver Surfer can escape black holes and do all that crazy stuff. But anyway.
But because he even said it though. Remember, he said it'll take her 20 years or something, however many years to get out of it or whatever. It'll take her forever, and she was back like pretty quick. So
she said anyway,
right?
Yeah. Black holes are nothing to the Silver Surfer.
They didn't know she was back until she started destroying the things.
Yeah.
So, and I was
so
like, wait a minute.
Speaking of that, like, what did y'all think of the final battle with Galactus? I personally, I loved like Sue Storm and how she just like took that man on. I guess the emotions and all of that stuff and adrenaline heightened her powers. And low key, I was a little scared. I feel like
too.
So I had to. So I watched Jay. I watched your breakdown, and your breakdown basically answered that question because I was skeptic. I was like, wait a minute, is she really this powerful? And you literally said it in the breakdown, and he was basically like, she's way more powerful than they showed in the film. And in the comics, like her he basically broke down the gripe I thought I was gonna have, because I thought I had it. I was like, oh man, they overpowered her. She's Scarlet Witch level doing this and that. I was about to go in hard, and then by the time it was done, I was like, well, okay, Jay, you didn't answer my question already.
Oh, okay.
And shot down my little theory about them just making it up. Yeah, I was like, well, I have nothing to rant about, so I guess we'll leave it there. I did, but I thought it was interesting. I was like, bro was menacing, and it was in a weird way, because he wasn't arrogant. But like even how he turned back and looked at the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I was like, it felt like he was looking at us.
Yeah. I like that little touch.
Well, I'm gonna tell you 2 touches with that piece that really broke down scale is when he put his freaking hand and smashed that building.
Yeah.
When I think his knee or his foot stepped down the first time, I was like, oh man, this is crazy. I was sitting there looking like, and then the theater got silent again. Like you'd have thought he was about to come bust down the theater next.
Yeah.
Like So everybody was like, it got quiet in there again. So the scale of that dude, I think, really was very
Terrifying.
the cinematic piece of him. It was super terrifying. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I've never felt. I didn't even feel like that with Thanos.
And you know what though? It's sort of like, because we've seen larger than life or larger than building monsters and Power Rangers or whatever, but this is the
Right.
first time where I was genuinely like, oh shit. And I really feel
Right.
like it's a combination of, not a combination, it's CGI. Good CGI and good cinematography will have you feeling like, I felt like this uneasiness, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. I feel like he was so intriguing that, you know, especially when you saw his face come out, like, you know, of the blackness when we first saw him, I was just like, whoa, like, hey man, I don't want no problems.
Bro, I'm telling you, this is probably it. Okay, so RJ, I'll say I wasn't RJ afraid, but I was like, okay, now this is getting real. Like that's how I could feel the peril.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't gonna start singing. Yeah, I wasn't gonna start singing Barney to get myself out of whatever. You know, I was gonna pull RJ and be like, I gotta go to the restroom real quick. Hold on. No, we go ahead and so I could feel like, oh, they gonna lose. They about to lose.
And that's how it felt, Gerald, because like when like you said, when he first like stepped down on the planet, I was like, oh, y'all might be in trouble. Like, so I really like how they
real quick. Yeah, like
and I thought he was gonna be bigger, but like as I was looking at him going through the sea, I was like, damn, he is pretty damn big. So I was like, yeah.
I think that was good for them to do it that way because you had to make it at least seem like he could be beat to some degree.
That's true.
Because if they'd have made him so big, so like just imagine if they would have only been like the size. I mean, he was still freaking humongous because the way he did Reed.
Yeah. That part scared me.
Yeah,
that part I was so queasy.
Yeah, I didn't. He can only stretch so far too. I think people forget that he can't. He doesn't have like a limited stretch. So I mean, I was scared. Yeah, I was scared for him.
I think that's the first time it looked like Galactus was kind of having fun hurting somebody. It was kind of weird. Because he didn't have a ton of emotion behind how he operated, but that was the only time where he actually seemed, and I don't know if I just misremember it, but it seemed like he was having fun doing that.
Yeah.
Like he was, I was like, oh, okay.
That was terrifying. Like I ain't want no parts of none of that.
Especially after we saw what happened with Reed and with Scarlet Witch did to him.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I was like, dang it. Is he about to go out like that? Like, you know, they're gonna have to do something where they reverse time. What's gonna happen? You know?
Yeah, something.
But
that was crazy.
You know, I ain't gonna lie. My biggest gripe was the baby.
Oh, damn! I was just about to say that. I hope we're talking about the same thing. The baby pissed me off in the end because I don't say the baby pissed me off. I feel like, well, let me say this. I enjoyed the baby in this film because it didn't cry a lot. That's my pet peeve with baby. Like, no baby cries that fucking much. I promise you. Like, every time there's a baby involved in a TV show or a movie, every scene is crying to let you know that it's a baby. We know there's a baby there. It does not have to cry every scene, and that's what pisses me off. But with this baby, I like the fact that they let it cool, they let it be cute. Like that's a baby. Babies don't cry that damn much. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it. But the scene with the baby in the end where Sue Storm magically wakes up, it was Harry Potter vibes. Like, it's my tears brought you back. The baby should have glowed. The baby should have done something. I didn't care for like the baby just on her chest and then she woke up. I feel like we should have seen some kind of power.
So they did like this. It was something weird. Now, of course, you saw it in her eye when she woke up, but again, I always till I see it again. But I noticed that baby's hands were on her.
The hands were on her, yeah.
And I felt like there was a little bit of some kind of little ripple or something. Not very subtle.
Okay.
I feel like that.
That's probably why
it may have never happened. However, I think that's what I feel like.
Please look when you go back tonight. Let me know. I need to know because that was my only gripe about the baby. Everything else, the baby was fine, but that was like.
I'm sure people have asked the question too. I'm sure they have. So, but for me, it was, and I think it was freaky as heck watching when like Grim was supposed to be holding the baby and the baby was just kind of wriggling, and it was weird. I was like, okay, guys, did y'all not see
it was like
this
AI
scene?
baby.
Yeah, it was bad. I didn't like that at all. I was like,
that was probably the only bad CGI in the movie. That
baby looked like it was just kind of doing this, and I was like, ugh, what's happening?
Like, put it down, gross.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying because like the only reason I didn't have a problem with it is because I know how powerful Franklin Richards is. He's like one of the most powerful characters. But besides that, I mean, I feel like it could have been done a little bit differently. Just somehow, I just can't think of it, but I just imagine it seeing it going a different way in the end. But it wasn't a terrible ending in my eyes. But I see the complaints though because of how it was designed, how it was formed.
Yeah. Overall, though, I enjoyed the movie. It's something that would I watch again? Probably, yeah. I like the fact that it was refreshing, that it was a standalone. I think that the performances were great. I think the CGI was amazing. The story was well paced and it wasn't too long. So I guess for me, I'll give the movie an easy 7.7 out of 10. What about y'all?
I'm gonna have to give it an 8.2. I really liked it because I'm a comic book fan, so I think it just made me a little bit more excited. From even if you do watch like if you're just a regular moviegoer, I still think it's entertaining. But for me, it just gave me a higher rating because I'm a comic book fan. So.
I'll say probably a clean 8. Initially, I said a little bit higher, but I still there's some few things I was had some concerns / thoughts about, but 8 still because I feel like it could definitely stand alone with no issue. Will they force it? Sure, but it could easily stand alone, and it would be one of the better movies as a standalone. Because I hated personally, I just did not like the idea of what they did in the mid credit. It did nothing for me.
Oh yeah. Wait. Are we talking about Doom or are we talking about the cartoon? Because I like the Doom thing.
No,
I didn't like
I didn't like the Doom part because it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Based on what you claim to be setting up.
Gerald, this is what they were doing as far as the Doom scene. This is exactly what they were doing to us.
Okay. Right.
Oh, you're gonna get it. You gotta get it.
Yep. And then they're gonna say you got to be quicker than that, and then you'll be like, oh well, but because so if they deviate, what's next? Like, what's the real tie-in gonna be if they deviate and do something else? What does the post-credit scene mean? Nothing.
Yeah, because they do that a lot. They'll show you a post-credit or mid-credit scene, and then like you'll wait for some shit to matter, and it's like, okay, so whatever happened to so and so, like so they're known
Charisse
for doing that.
When she slices into the thing and come talk to Dr. Strange, is that gonna ever happen? Probably not.
Where's that?
And what I don't like about this last thing I'll say is just I think Marvel has stopped doing the original or having the suspense of every end credit scene now up to like the older movies, because the older movies every end credit scene mattered and like something was very exciting to look forward to. I feel like now you're just showing like end credit scenes with like a character like opening a microwave and there's a pizza in it and they just take a bite, or they're just walking outside and they're just going down the steps and that's or like a picture or a photo or something. And it's like stuff that doesn't matter or there's no substance to it. Like, can we please get back to just showing end credit scenes that you guys delete out these scenes anyway? You might as well use that for an end credit scene to build up some more suspense for the next film.
I'll just say this since we didn't talk about the dude at all. Mole Man stole both of his scenes that he was in.
Oh yeah.
He stole both of them scenes.
Love Mole Man.
He stole both of the scenes.
It made me want to see more of him. Like going forward,
he helped them figure out he helped them figure out the plan too.
Yep.
Yeah, he was part of it. He was part
Yeah.
of it. I genuinely like. I felt intrigued about his story and how all that came to be. So like, I wouldn't be upset if in the second one or the third one they came back to him to kind of get like some more help. I want them to use him again. He's funny.
Yeah,
He's funny too. And that's
Yeah,
one
same.
more thing. I'll say this before we close out. I enjoyed the fact that this wasn't typical Marvel humor. When there was danger, there was danger. You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't like danger, joke, 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 danger. It was straight danger, and then maybe a joke at the end or towards the end when they realized they were slowly coming out of the danger. So
They left the
that's
jokes
probably why I enjoyed
really
this too.
self-contained too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
a lot of jokes they left them self-contained within the house, or if they were in the ship, it was specifically,
Yeah.
like tied to something, like that. But I saw some interesting Incredibles tie-in stuff too. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But
It was done really well. I thought they didn't overuse the comedy. So
Yeah. Same. Yeah, fellas. So I think we did a good job breaking down Fantastic Four First Steps. Definitely enjoyed chatting with you guys and chopping it up as usual. We'll probably be back Tuesday. We don't know. We have nothing on the calendar. We have to talk about that in the group chat to see what we're doing. But yeah, stick around, hit that like button, and as well as subscribe. And we will probably see you Tuesday. If not, hit the notification bell so you know when we do go live later days. And there's no outro.